Hey, it's Sandra Pike here, Deals and Heels, Halifax Realtor. And I thought I would start with David Greenspan and bring to you once a week or twice a month, just some type of content to help you grow your business as a small business owner or a real estate agent. And I met David, oh my goodness, how long ago did we meet?
Wow, I don't even know. You know what? It's one of those things where you start to get to know somebody and you start to become friends with each other. Forget about business, and it's like time flies when you're having fun, right? I don't even remember how long it's been.
I don't know, but so David, just to go over about your company, why don't you tell everybody what it is that you do and whatnot?
Yeah, I am. I don't know what to title myself. I know my business card says VP, but I've been with Kits Keep in Touch System. Started it about 13 years ago with an amazing team. Quite frankly, if I didn't have that team, I'm selling fairy dust. But the reality is, started out selling newsletters, getting into the whole keep in touch world of trying to help you guys, realtors, mortgage brokers, small businesses, stay in touch with their most important audience. That's grown into being well beyond newsletters to CRM, emails, websites, you name it, wicked calendars that we
Oh,
offer.
you know what? The calendars. So I use your calendars, so I used them for the first time last year, and I send out stuff to my database all the time, and this was the first time that I sent something out that people responded. And you know what? Truth be told, before you and I got on this call, I had a text saying thank you for the calendar.
Oh, I love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
and just I mean, because there's so much stuff that we can send, and for me, I'm not into sending my clients digital information,
Yeah.
but I do like something that's tangible. And the calendars, by far, out of everything I've ever sent my database, they were a hit, and they were worth every penny.
I love hearing it. And it's funny because first, in this day of technology and in the world that we're living in, it is so easy to blast an email and wish somebody a happy holidays or whatever it is, but it's not sincere. It's
Yeah.
not very genuine, right? That's where you got to use those real, like pick up the phone or do something tangible. I tell everybody, take a pen, write a handwritten card. It means a lot to people. That
Yes.
said, we've had these calendars for a number of years. And funny enough, you'd stand at trade shows back in the day and be like, hey, you want to see a cool calendar? And people look at you and go, are you okay? You're like, no, 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 come, come. And you start showing them that it's got their brand at the bottom of every page. And people are like, okay, yeah, big deal, man. And I'm like, okay, wait, let me give you one more. And then you start to show them that the person's name is actually written somewhere in the picture. And everybody stops and goes, oh my God. And
Yeah.
so like you're getting 365 days of advertising, but your client sees their name. And now it's not about using the calendar to write anything. It's not about you. It's about them. That's where they're keeping it.
I had one client, her name was Sasha, and she spells it a different way. And she goes, Sandra, that's the first time that I've ever got anything with my name spelled correctly.
Correctly.
So yeah, no, I am, again, I know, you get some programs out there or coaches, and they're saying that you should keep in touch with your client like 34 times or 40. And I'm thinking, I don't want to send my client shit. I really don't. But
Yeah.
this is awesome. Like, I love this stuff.
I love
And
it.
yeah, no, so I'm a big fan of you and your
Well, thank
program
you.
of what you can do for us agents. So let's just talk about, you are so tenacious, you don't stop. Let's just talk about, because we're all entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
And whether you are in your role or in our role as real estate agents or mortgage brokers or whatnot, what would you say your morning routine is? Like, what the run of a life, the run of a day in your life?
You know what? The morning routine is one of those where you get up in the morning, you just start moving. And I mean, I would totally credit my morning routine for all of the preparation I do at nighttime. I am very lucky if I see 6 hours on my alarm clock. They say no rest for the wicked. I push and push and push, and I'm look. I'm a fortunate, lucky husband and incredibly lucky father. And so I've got two young kids at home, and part of the evening part of the routine is trying to get out of here, the office, at a normal time so I can spend some hours with them before they go to at 8 o'clock on a normal school day. By the time that's all said and done, you got to take your shower and you get all, sort of settled down. It could be 9:30.
Yeah.
Well, now preparation comes in for what's got to happen tomorrow. And so I'm prepping, who am I going to call? What emails am I going to write? Uh,
Yeah.
what marketing has to go out? What do I have to do with my team? So I've always got a team sort of like meeting I do in the morning with my guys, with my staff. And I sort of, what are we doing? What are we up to? Did we cover this? Did we cover that? I prep my social media stuff. So I make sure that everything is ready to go. And
Yep.
it's that preparation the night before that really sets up that morning routine to literally launch out of the gate. Now, the one thing I will say that I have made challenge to myself or whatever it is, and I might call it a challenge, is that we all pick this thing up very quickly in the morning. We all do it too quickly in the morning.
Yeah.
And I do myself a real big favor. I do not check into social media. I do not check my email until I am out of the house. I believe, and I would say that I'm guilty of or victim of opening that thing up and letting that thing determine what my day is going to be like. So I see somebody doing something that I'm not doing, and it starts to make my wheels spin, but they're negative spins. I start to see things that, maybe, oh my God, they've already done this and I haven't done it yet. I got to get to it. And now I'm starting to be antsy and, anticipate or anxious on stuff. And so part of my morning routine is to not look at this thing until I have left the house. My time is more important to me than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
My children and my wife's time is more important to me than it is even for me to be for me. Do you know what I mean? So I've got to make sure that is in line so that when I leave that house with my big coffee, that I'm mentally prepared. And that's the biggest thing for me. And I mean, Sandra, I'll tell you something though. It is hard because my alarm clock is on here. It is hard because we're addicts to this thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard because I have it. And so it's something to create a habit of every single day.
Yeah, no, I can tell you I do the same thing. So my routine, I get up in the morning, bed has to be made, and I always have to have breakfast and coffee. And, while I'm watching the news, I will check All Nova Scotia. That's like a white collar rag here. So I like knowing the news. But for when it comes to a work perspective, not till 9 o'clock. And,
Okay,
I'll call my mother every morning on my way to the gym. And, but yeah, no, I don't do the work till 9 o'clock because I need that time, for myself in the morning, because it's always given to everybody else throughout the day. And I feel that the mornings are so important. And phone, the emails, they can wait.
Well, you're right. And I mean, the other thing is too, you don't want to be a slave to other people.
No.
And don't get me wrong. I mean, please, for anybody watching this, like I am, and if you know me, I am massive on customer service. Like from a relational perspective, it's just who I am right here. So I want to be there for you. But there's also got to be a moment, like you just mentioned, eating breakfast. I will eat breakfast every morning.
Yep.
It gets the mind right. It gets you spinning the right way, right?
Yeah,
That's the stuff that really gets you started on the right path. Yeah, breakfast was a big one for sure.
Absolutely. So again, so being the tenacious man you are, what would be if you had to tell us to read a book?
Yeah.
And to either motivate us or to help us get organized. Well, what worked for you?
Well, there's a few things to that. First, being the person I am, I have a very difficult time sitting down to lock myself into reading a book.
Yeah.
I'm always go, go, go. Listen, don't get me wrong. I read very well, but you know me. And for those of the people watching me, there's no surprise. I'm not just going to sit down and lock into a book that easily. That being said, I do listen to them. And I downloaded this really awesome app called Audible. I downloaded it at some point last year. I might have already told you about that, but I now have a personal goal of reading 1 to 2 books a month. And where I say 1 to 2 is because sometimes you pick a very long book that just takes you a lot longer to get through it. But I listen or I read or whatever you want to call that. And learning from reading, listening is massive, again, for the mind and where we go. And I'll pick books that are, mindset, motivation, how to get out of your own head, happiness, things like that. But I also have a lot of strategy books that I read, right? Business strategy. And so, start of the year for me, the big thing is the mindset, right? Try to get the mind right, because I've read a lot of business books sort of tailing off from last year. And going into this year, it's like, okay, let's start off the year properly. Let's get into some mindset stuff. But two of the books that I really, really enjoyed, which are not secrets to anybody, by the way, I'm sure a lot of people here have probably read them, but I do recommend them sort of for our industry, is High Performance Habits by Brendan Burchard.
Yeah.
If you haven't read that, check it out. I know the first few times I watched that guy on video, I wasn't too sure if I could get into it. I know when I started to listen to the sample that Audible gives you, where you can listen to the person's voice, I was like, oh, I can't listen to this guy. But I gave it a shot because I heard a lot of great feedback, and I'm grateful that I did. He was awesome. He had a lot of great insight. Another one just to bring up here, and this is, again, total strategy. Applicable to our industry. I know applicable to me for sure. It could be applicable to you if you're looking at create a content strategy or launch something. The book was actually called Expert Secrets by a guy named Russell Brunson, which again, a lot of people have probably heard of. So that one again was very much about, launching products and sort of how to really take your business to another level. So I like those two. Those are sort of my tail ends of last year. Circle back with me in a few months and I'll have a slew of different things I can label off to you. I mean, I read Crushing It last year. If you wanted, I could go through the whole list of books that I read last year, but I mean, everything from, again, mindset, happiness, motivation, business, strategy.
No, I'm with you there. So if you had a favorite online tool that helps you in your business.
Yeah, I've actually got a few of them for a few different things. So, I mean, first off, I'd say social media for sure. And I mean, as crazy as that sounds, when you talk about a tool, I will consider it a tool. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, all over that stuff. Not only, putting content out to them, but really trying to educate myself around how to use them even better. And then, hey, use that value to deliver back to our audience.
Absolutely.
But outside of like the social thing, Canva. If you've heard of Canva.
It's great.
Canva's awesome. So Canva allows you to go in and create, artwork and lay in logos and do like word swag type of stuff, imagery, cover art, whatever. There's another one called Snappa, which is kind of a competitor to Canva. It's a little bit more expensive. It gives you more options though. So those are two cool ones for art.
That one.
Yeah, Snappa. Check that out. I've heard some great stuff about it. Again, just a little bit more pricey, but it does give you more options, I guess you could call it, that most people haven't seen. So if I don't know. There's another one called Video Show. And I use Video Show to edit all of my videos. And so a lot of, if anybody here watches Mindshare 101, watches my rants, I'm literally like this when I'm doing them. So I'm holding my phone in my right arm and I'm doing it this way. And I've got the app on my phone. So I can open it up and I can literally trim the video. So take out, the start and the finish when I'm like getting my smile on or whatever, pressing play or whatever. I can put in my watermark. I can change the aspect ratio. So we know these days on social, your videos, you want them to be square rather than horizontal. So those are some big key factors. And again, you learn this stuff through either like listening to guys like me or doing your own research. But Video Show is a very cool app. I think it could be free. I might have paid $7 at one time, but there's no ads. It's awesome.
I'll have to look at that one myself.
And then if you're into the world of podcasting, flash briefings, and we know that, and I'm going to say it right now, mark my words, 2019 is going to be massive for voice marketing. If you're into that type of thing, and you want to
ask a question, what do you mean by voice marketing?
Take the video out of what we're doing right now and literally do a audio rather than video. So all the audio that's coming through, like you can hear me, I can hear you, our audience can hear us right now. Take the video portion out of that and there's your voice marketing.
Really?
So, well, here, Alexa, you've heard of Alexa. We've all heard of Alexa by Amazon. Alexa was, I don't remember exactly what forgive me, I don't remember exact numbers, but Alexa exploded over the holidays. It was one of the top selling gifts that people were buying and things people were buying for their homes. I'm not a fan of it. I think that the Big Brother's listening at all times. I don't know why anybody would bug their home. That said, the entire world is going after this thing now. And it really turns your house into a smart home. And you can literally, like I was at somebody's house the other day for a barbecue and we were outside sitting around a nice fire. And he wanted to change the music. And so he literally yelled from the backyard. He's like, Alexa, change the music to whatever. And like the music changed.
Really?
So that's one aspect. But now when you take the voice marketing, Radio is typically or technically voice marketing, but
Yeah.
radio you cannot consume on demand. When you turn it on, it's playing whatever they want you to play, and you're listening to whatever commercials they want you to listen to. Whereas with voice marketing, what it allows you to do is go, I want to listen to a topic about Facebook, or I want to listen to a topic about real estate, or I want to listen about this or that. And you can literally pull up tons and tons of content from different people just like us who say stuff and talk about it and educate you. But the nice thing is you can do it anywhere because, again, it's on demand. And so now I could be in the car instead of radio. I could turn on a podcast. I could be shoveling the snow, cutting the grass, riding my bicycle, whatever. I can be listening. I don't have to watch. Okay, so where the power in voice is over video is I don't have to turn on the video. I don't have to watch it. I don't have to feel like I'm glued to the screen, but I can now just put my earbuds in and listen. And it's funny because it's almost so old school when you think about the way we communicate.
Yeah. I didn't
right?
know that. Oh, wow.
But now go further, and this is something else for anybody watching this to pay attention to. If you're scared, you know what I mean, out of this camera staring at you, and you don't want to be on camera, you don't like the way you look or whatever, you can now put out content, a ton of content, through voice marketing rather than video marketing, and still be able to really take on this next level of content marketing.
Look, I'm even writing notes.
Yeah, no, listen, you know what? There's I just ripped, if you want, I just literally this morning released episode number 4 of the Mindshare podcast.
Yeah.
I've got a special guest with me named Jason Frazier. This guy's a genius when it comes to this type of stuff. We went through the what's, the whys, the hows of voice. We went very surface. We went a little bit deep, but there's so much more you can cover off on this topic. My big thing, again, back to our industry is if you want to put content out there and you want to deliver value, but you're scared of the camera, voice is the way to go. And podcasts now give anybody the ability to listen and consume content anywhere, anytime.
Wicked.
Voice marketing is amazing. And so where I was going with that is I use an app called Audacity. Audacity. And by the way, let me preface this. I am a Microsoft, I'm a PC. I'm not a Mac. So I don't record on the Macs. I do record. Yeah, right. I do record on my PC, and they're a little bit limited on stuff, but I did go and get this app, very highly rated, and it lets you record audio. So you can see, the wavelengths, and you can edit, you can trim, and you can lower the volumes and stuff like that. And it's awesome. And it's very, very easy to export as a MP3, MP4, and then load it up wherever you want. So again, check out the Mindshare podcast. I talk a lot more about that.
Yeah, no, I love your podcast. So a question now. So, you've been doing this now 13 years, you said?
Yeah.
So if you had to go, you're only 33 now, but if you
I wish. I'll be 38 in about 14 days or something like that. 13 days. I don't even know. January 17.
If you had to go back and give your 20-year-old self any advice?
Slow down. Don't do it. Be careful. Oh, that's a loaded question. I cannot get into the details of what my 20-year-old self was doing. I don't think that's appropriate for today's episode. But no, the reality is, over the years, I've been told many times, you got to walk before you can run.
Yep.
And here I am always still trying to sprint. So I think that some of those things might be to, slow down a little bit, go backwards and really take your time on stuff. If I was back there, but I knew, then what I know now, I'd be ahead of where I am right now, So I think that all of us make mistakes, and I think it's okay to I think it's amazing to make mistakes, because the more mistakes you make, the more you learn how to do it right next time.
Mm-hmm.
And the key is to not quit. The key is to not give up, but to somehow be motivated in a way. And again, a lot of that comes from reading and learning and watching folks like you and having friends like you and being surrounded by the right people. Yep. That, when you're having an issue, you can bounce that off somebody or you can talk about it. Here, real quick story on that. I did an episode yesterday where I was invited onto a live with a few other guys from my crew from the industry syndicate there. And, we spoke for about 10 minutes before we went live. And then we spoke for about 25 minutes while we were live. But when we got off, we spoke for about 45 minutes. Wow. And it was literally like asking each other questions and then asking me, let's say, asking you a question, you going, I'm feeling the exact same way. And you're going, whew, it's not just me. Yeah. This is good.
Hmm.
So it's those little things where, again, when you make those mistakes, you can learn a lot. And I think a lot of it is surround yourself with the right people. I think it's Gary Vee. Forgive me if I flub this one, but they say, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room,
Yep.
right? You want to surround yourself like with amazing people that you can learn from on a daily basis. And I think that all of that, if I go backwards to the 20s where I had a lot of fun and I was, doing my own successful stuff at the time, surround yourself with the right people. Get rid of the stuff that is bad, that is negative. Negative influences are very, very bad for the mindset. And as you can tell, I'm very much into that mindset thing these days. It's huge, especially with the overloading world we have out there.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. So if you had to give some advice to any of the real estate agents or mortgage brokers, what advice would you give them to help them with their business?
There's
That's
a few
probably a loaded
things.
question.
No, it totally is. I mean, I think that part of that, I would start off right off the hop. I say to everybody, figure out you just asked what I would tell my 20-year-old self.
Yeah.
Where do you want to be when you're 65? Where do you want to be when you're 75? What do you want to look back on what do you want to look back on as your legacy, right? What is going to make you happy? And look, if you're into social media and you Pinterest stuff and Instagram and you follow the wrong people, it is so easy to see people who spend, $1 billion on a bottle of champagne to spray all over a club, who drive big Rolls Royces and have these big yachts. It's easy to get caught up in that and go, oh my God, why can't I do that? And the reality is everybody can, but how realistic is that stuff? So it's really looking ahead and going, where do you want to be? Or when you're there, what do you want to look back on to see what you did? And I'll tell you, for me, I have laid this out very simply. And we hear this time and time again from everybody. And I'll tell you, there was a time in my life where I looked at this and said, hocus pocus, I don't care for it. Write down your goals.
Yep.
Write down your lifetime goals. What do you want? And that could be, I'll tell you, one of mine is I want a pool in my backyard. Is that so hard? I don't know how big the pool is. I don't know how big the house is. I don't know how big the backyard is. I have no idea. But I know that I'm envisioning a pool in my backyard one day. I'm envisioning having a cottage. God willing, if I can convince my wife, the pool is going to be at the cottage. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I'm seeing that. So now, and that's one of the things, but again, it's part of the lifetime goals. So now, how long is it going to take me to get there? Is it going to be at the end of 2019? I hope so. I'm going to work towards it. But is it realistic? Maybe not. So there's a lifetime goal. And now you take those lifetime goals, which might be 10, 12 items, and you break them down into annual goals.
Mm-hmm.
What can I do this year that's going to take me that much closer to getting to the lifetime goal? And so now I'm looking at my 2019. I'm going, this is what I've got to achieve this year. And I ask myself, if I achieve this, will I be closer? Yeah, great. How am I going to achieve this? Well, let's take this and break it down into monthly. So now I know monthly, in the span of 30 to 31 days, what do I have to accomplish? Well, how do I make that work? Break it down into weekly. What do I got to get done this week? Well, how do I do that? Break it down into my daily, which comes back to the question you asked me before, evening routine, daily routine. It's breaking down the goals. Now that I have the goals, I've got to have a plan.
Yep.
How am I going to do that every day? What are my habits? You don't start doing anything till 9 a.m. because you're working out and talking to mom and doing breakfast and everything else before. Amazing. So there's your plan. So again, mine is tonight is to prepare social and emails and phone calls and everything else that tomorrow I'm rocking. And again, I will always be looking at that monthly and that annual goal to go, is what I'm doing today getting me that much closer? Now, here's the beautiful thing. When you've got your goals and you create a plan, you've now got a step forward of what you can achieve. Instead of going in 30, 40, 50 years, I want to have a pool, and obviously I want to have that a lot sooner, but here's where I want to be. Well, it's going to take you a hell of a long time to get there. So where's the reward? Where's the win? So this is where I say to everybody, give yourself small, little, achievable, attainable goals. Again, every day.
Yep.
So again, do you have a grateful journal? At nighttime, I am grateful that Sandra invited me to join her on her video today. Seriously. And I wrote that down. Why not? That's a win.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's a win. I'm grateful that I got this, right? I got that. I'm grateful that my children did this. It's these little things that you can look back on. And then at the end of the day, you can look back on what you won. And as shitty as sometimes maybe sound, I apologize, but as bad as some things could be, look back at that list and go, oh, It wasn't that bad. And
No.
then at the end of the week, you had the one bad day or the one bad hour, the deal fell apart. But weren't there more wins than there were losses?
Yeah.
And that just keeps snowballing. And now you're going to realize you're actually getting closer to where you want to be. So it's about a plan. It's about the goals. It's about effort. And guys, it's about consistency. And of course, I'll drop it on there. It's always about building mind share.
You know what? Like I'm not a big book reader, which is bad.
Yeah.
But there was one book that I read, and it was called The Secret, and Bring About What You Think About. And I truly believe in that. Like, I tell my team, think in abundance, because that's what you get. If you're always in scarcity, that's all you're going to have.
Yep.
And I've always felt that way about real estate and my life. I don't think about when the next check is coming in. Like it's so funny. I had a team member one day, and she's been working for me for about 3 years, and just trying to, get her trust in the systems that I have. And one day I was talking to her. I said, it's almost like a tap turns on, like for the business. And she had that epiphany one day. She goes, Sandra, the tap's on. And the business just kept coming to her. And I'm like, Diane, that's what it is. Like, it's just when you have that mindset, the good stuff just happens. And I mean, we all have crappy days, but it really is trying to get out of that.
It's so true.
Yeah. And The Secret was a big one for me. And there was another one called The Ant and the Elephant.
Oh, I haven't read that, because I was going to bring up Think and Grow Rich, which is like a dovetail of The Secret.
Yeah.
Right. You got to send me that other one. I want to check that out.
And that one is almost around the same premise is that, because our industry is so negative, right? And it's so easy to get caught up in all the bull, we'll call it.
It is, though. But everybody's, one thing I find is that people are always trying to keep up with the Joneses.
Yes.
And you got to stop looking at the Joneses and instead turn those into yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Look at yourself in the mirror and compete against yourself. And that's, again, the plan. That's, again, the goals. And that, you're bang on about bringing up The Secret and this whole thing. And Jen, my wife, you've met, she's always telling me, manifest, manifest, manifest. And again, to me, back in the day, that was hocus pocus stuff.
Yeah.
But you start to truly believe it.
Yeah.
And you start to truly, you got to live it. And it is, Sandra, it is hard. It's got to be consistent reminder, habit, poke yourself in the forehead, get out of your own head. You know what I mean? It is so much about, think positive, because we are so easily affected by or influenced by going, oh, but what if it doesn't work? Oh, but what if this? Oh, but look what they're doing.
Or worry what other people are going to say.
Who cares?
Sign your paycheck. So if you read The Ant and the Elephant, it's parable, and it's about keeping the elephant buzz. And the elephant buzz is staying positive, because the elephant wants to go to this promised land where everyone's having fun. The ant wants to get to this promised land where everybody's having fun. And anyway, it's just really neat. And it's how the id and the ego are talking together, and how you have to. It's just so easy to get off track.
Yeah, it is, right?
And I've been there myself over the past 8 years being in real estate. And, and sometimes you just got okay, I'm having a shitty day, or this is bothering me. I just got to shelf it and put it away and say, it's not worth it, or how can I have done things differently? And so I get it, and but I really love those books.
Here, I'll tell you one thing that I started doing. I think it's 2 years ago now, but it's every morning. It's at a random time of the day, random time of the morning. Part of me, it could be in my car, it could be in the looking at myself in the mirror, it could be somewhere. Today is a new day.
Yep.
Okay. I did not know, and again, I keep using you as an example here just for today's episode, but I didn't know you were going to reach out to me and say, hey, Dave, do you want to join me? And
yep.
I love chatting with you. Just on a personal level, but then, on a business level, my thing, this is it. I'm right here. So it's those are wins, right?
Yep.
But I didn't know that was going to happen. And so all the stuff that happened the day before, all the stuff that might've happened in the morning before this happened, I didn't know this was going to happen. So you got to kind of drop all of that off and literally somehow, in some way, get out of your head, and remind yourself, this is a new block of 24 hours right now. We don't know what's about to happen today. You don't know what the phone is going to ring, and it could be, you just won the lot. Like, who knows?
I know.
You don't know.
Great, though.
Okay.
That would be so great.
Oh
So,
my God. But it's exactly that. It's starting yourself off right.
I hear you. So apart from all that, I just want to get back to what it is that you do. And I love your program.
Thank you.
And it's so funny, so your kits, you keep in touch with your clients. I tell the team, like, if you don't stay in touch with your clients, someone else will. Yeah. And so often, I go and meet people. Oh yeah, I sold my house. Well, who's your realtor? I'm like, and they're like, I don't know. I can assure you, my past clients will not forget that I sold them a house. Because again, I feel it's to, stay in touch with programs that you offer for real estate agents. And I just adore your program.
Thank you.
If someone wanted to find out more information about your program, how would they do that?
They can obviously check out kitspack.com. They can go to mindshare101.com. So at Mindshare, they can actually learn more about me as a marketing strategist, a speaker. They can check out more about the Mindshare Challenge, which is an 8-week training program we do. They can learn more about kits to help them with their keep in touch part of their business. Go there, go to Facebook, check me out at Mindshare 101, go to YouTube, is Mindshare 101 is the channel, and then on Instagram, because somebody stole Mindshare 101 from me before I got it, and they did it in spite, because the only picture they ever posted was of my workbook that I did while I was on stage one day. Oh, I'm telling you. And I've messaged them multiple, and if you're listening, tell me what it's going to cost. I want my name back. But I ended up having to go with David Greenspan 101 on Instagram, because Mindshare 101 is not around anymore. So people could find me. I mean, hell, if you've got a hard time finding me, reach out to Sandra. I need to know about it because I've done something very wrong.
I'm with you. Well, you have been a delight to talk to. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you again for having me on. It's always appreciated and great talking to you.
Yay. Take care.
See ya.